NVIDIA reports fiscal first quarter results after the close on May 20th, the most anticipated print of the season. Consensus calls for earnings of $1,000 share on revenue near $78.75 billion, up from 96 cents and $4 billion a year ago. Data center alone is projected at $72.85 billion, nearly double year over year. This is a market-wide barometer. Blackwell ramp commentary, gross margin durability, and Rubin guidance will move the entire AI complex. The bear case is real. Jensen Huang concedes NVIDIA's China share has dropped to zero as Beijing pivots to domestic chips, and the stock is priced